Today I'm reviewing this Arcadia metal swing set that I recently purchased for my kids. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the process of showing you exactly what's inside, seeing exactly how long it takes to get it assembled, all of that sort of information that's important for somebody who might be considering buying this for their children as well. So let me go ahead and open this up. So when you open it up, this is what it's going to look like inside. So it's obviously it has all of the metal pieces and everything that you need for the assembly process. The instructions, I'm going to guess, are in here too. But let me go ahead and pull everything out and we'll see what we find. So we were going through and unpacking everything, just kind of laying it out, seeing how that would work out. And it's important to note that we didn't realize is that there's going to be numbers for the assembly are going to be on the bags themselves. So don't be like us and undo a whole bunch of bags when you're first getting started. Those numbers on there are going to be on each of the individual pieces. So you're going to want to leave them in the bags and go through the assembly process with them in the bags. We're just trying to make it a little bit easier by taking everything out of the bags. And obviously now that we have them out of the bags, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to assemble rather than easier. So I've already gone part way through the assembly, but I'm actually going to be putting this towards the beginning of the video because this thing is a game changer. So they give you a little wrench as well. And then about 3/4 of the way through the assembly process, they tell you should use this for the swings. And the thing is, you really should have been using this little piece all along. That is so much easier to use than the little wrench that they give you, as this thing is so thin that it pops off of the nuts repeatedly over and over and over again. So they also give you this to put the screws or the nuts onto the bottom of the swings. But this is a ton easier to use when assembling everything. So I would recommend getting this out, using it for all of your nuts to tighten those down, as it is going to be a ton easier than trying to use the Allen wrench or trying to use that little wrench that they give you. Once you get the one side bolted in, so you have that there and then there, then you're going to put the legs on to there, and again, just bolt them into place. Then the next step is to do these lower bars. So these are going to be the ones with the foam on them, and you're again just going to connect them with the same bolts and nuts and things as you have up there and on the top bar as well. Once you get all that assembled, so you got the legs and everything going up and the top bar, next thing you're going to do is to assemble the swings and then the other bars that go onto the top. One thing I did want to point out is they're going to be different on this A6 and A7. So that's going to be these bars here, that one on the other side and this one. So this one here is going to have 2 holes. So that's going to be the A7, and you're going to want that on the side that has this on the top bar, not holes on the end. So make sure you have the one here, the A7, that has 2 holes on that bar, with the side that doesn't have a hole on this far side, as this is where the like teeter-totter type swing is going to connect to. So now we're on the assembly of the seats, and they say that you're supposed to put these little blue things on here, but truthfully, they didn't make these bolts long enough. So there's not even enough room to thread the little nut onto there and get it in place, because they needed to make this like maybe 1/4 of an inch longer to actually go through the seat. So what we're having to do is we're just having to toss and not use these little blue things that it says to. Still does have a washer, so it shouldn't pull through or anything, but it just has less of one. So I'm not sure exactly why they designed it this way, but those little blue plastic pieces just quite literally make it too thick where you can't put the nut on it. Next thing we're going to do is put on this little seesaw. So you're going to connect those little feet onto the bottom of those poles using 2 screws, one on each side. And then you're going to connect it up to the top using a bolt. And this is what it'll look like when it's done. So the screws are just going to go in there and on the opposite side. And then this part is going to stick out. And again, that bolt is going to be right up there at the top and through. The next thing you're going to be doing is just putting this little metal piece right onto the bottom of the slide. Then once you finish that, then you're going to be putting the bar across on the little steps for the slide. Next thing you'll do is be putting together these stairs. So for that, you're just going to take these bolts, put them through, and then these are actually going to be metal stairs, as well as this is going to be metal. And then that's what the top is going to look like. Now we're going to put on the back legs. So the project is complete. Obviously you can see the slide coming down on this side. This isn't going to be an extremely large slide. I will grab a tape measure here in a minute just to give you the exact measurements, like height of the slide, length of the slide. Slide is going to be relatively small. The other thing you'll want to keep in mind is that these little seats are going to be pretty small as well, and they're not flexible either. So this is made of a hard plastic. So if you've got bigger children, then this probably won't work for them, simply because this doesn't have that like flexible bottom to it. But I'll give you the exact measurements across on there too. Overall time for assembly took my wife and I 1.5 hours to do. We have not really done one of these before, so did run into a couple of issues when putting it together, just, you know, things dropping screws and that sort of a thing. This doesn't come with a bunch of extra screws either, so if you do drop something, you will need to make sure that you pick it up. But overall, definitely looks really nice. Should probably work best, I'm going to say, for ages 10 and under. Anything over that probably are going to have issues with that smaller slide, and then also with the swings, just because of the size of them. So let me go and grab a tape measure real fast. I'll measure the actual width of the swings across, and then also measure the height and the length of the slide here. So actual measurements on this, the height that the slide is off the ground is 31 inches at the highest point. So that's just going to be the top there. It is going to just have 2 steps up. And then the length of the slide itself is only going to be 54 inches long. So from the very bottom to the top. So definitely not a very long slide. The one thing I did want to mention was the swings themselves. So the actual spot at the very top where you're going to be sitting is about 10 3/8. But assuming you don't want to have, you know, partially when you're sitting on there, your derriere partially up on that, you're only going to have about 9 inches across. So before it starts to curve there, here and then there, it's only going to be about 9 inches. So definitely pretty small. Same thing with these. It's going to be relatively small as well. So this is a little teeter-totter swing set. And this is only going to be 8 inches across at the widest point. At its narrowest point, you're only going to be 3.5 inches. So again, going to be relatively small. Overall, definitely a really good set. It is designed to have spots for you to anchor it. So it has holes on all 4 of these bottoms. It doesn't come with the anchors, however, so it is something you will have to purchase separately. But you can easily drive the anchors here into the ground and then connect them right into there to make sure that the swing set stays in place when the kids are playing on it, that sort of a thing. So overall, definitely a pretty good purchase. Super excited. I'm sure my kids are to be able to play on this.